So, have you ever looked at a brand new building and just wondered, how? How does a perfect drawing on a piece of paper become this huge, solid thing standing perfectly straight on, a patch of dirt? It really does seem like magic, but it's actually a process of incredible precision. Today, we're going to dive right into that critical first step, laying out a building.
Okay, so let's really get into this. The big question is right here. How do you take all those perfect lines and angles from a flat plan and transfer them onto the real world, onto uneven ground, with total accuracy? Because if you get this wrong, the whole project is in trouble right from the very start.
And the answer is a process called laying out. It's actually a beautifully simple concept. Before any concrete gets poured, before a single brick is laid, you're basically drawing a full-scale version of the building's footprint directly onto the earth. This is the foundation of, well, the foundation.
But wait, before we even think about picking up a tape measure, there are two golden rules. These are the absolute bedrock of the entire construction process. You gotta get these right first.
The first rule, and it's always number one, is safety. Now, this is about more than just avoiding accidents. A safe site is an organized site. Wearing the right gear, using your tools the right way, and keeping the area clear, all that stuff makes sure the work can be done accurately without any dangerous distractions. The second golden rule is all about establishing the site datum. Think of this as a single immovable point on the site that becomes the master reference for every single height measurement. Every floor, every window, every doorway, its height is all calculated from this one starting point. And why is this so critical? Well, without that one fixed datum point, you'd be measuring from a bunch of different spots. And the result? It would just be a cascade of errors, leading to the ultimate disaster. A building that's uneven, or even worse, sloping. No one wants that. All right, with our golden rules locked in, it's time for the action, measuring and squaring. This is where we take that blueprint to the ground and make sure every single corner is absolutely perfect. Now, the very first measurement you take isn't actually for the building itself, it's for its location. You have to measure the distance from the site boundary, the edge of the property. This step decides exactly where on the plot of land this new structure is going to sit. And why is this so important? Well, there are two huge reasons: laws and neighbors. Every town has rules about how far a building has to be from the property line. Get it wrong, and you're looking at big fines. And of course, you really, really don't want to accidentally start building on your neighbor's property. That's a mistake you just can't make. Okay, now for a bit of builder's magic that's literally been used for thousands of years, the 3-4-5 rule. It is such a simple, brilliant way to create a perfect 90-degree corner. You just measure 3 units down one side, 4 units down the other, and if the diagonal line between those 2 points is exactly 5 units, bam, you've got a perfect square corner. It's just a super practical way to use the Pythagorean theorem, and builders have relied on it forever. And here's what it looks like in the real world. Just 3 simple measurements with a tape measure, and you get that perfect triangle. This incredibly simple check guarantees that the cornerstone of the whole building is absolutely precise. So here's the bottom line. That one perfectly square corner sets the standard for the entire build. If your corners are right, your walls are going to be straight, your rooms will be square, and everything that comes next, from the floors to the roof, is going to fit exactly like it's supposed to. Okay, so we've got the building's 2D footprint sorted out on the ground. Now we've got to conquer the third dimension, making sure everything is perfectly horizontal or level. And to do that, we have some awesome tools. You've got your classic spirit level, which is great for small jobs. Then there's the aqua level, which cleverly uses the fact that water always finds its own level, perfect for longer distances with simple tech. And then you have the modern solution, the laser level. Honestly, the laser level is a total game changer. It shoots a perfectly level beam of light over really long distances, which means one person can work with incredible speed and accuracy. It is a huge leap forward in both efficiency and precision compared to the old school methods. Okay, we've measured, we've squared, and we've leveled. Now it's time for the final layout step, marking the final lines. This is where we create the actual guides that the entire construction crew is going to follow. And to do this, we use something called profile boards. They're just simple wooden boards set up just outside the building's footprint. Then, strings are stretched super tightly between them, hovering directly over where the foundation trenches and the walls need to go. These strings, they are the ultimate guide. They show the excavator exactly where to dig. They show the masons exactly where to build the walls. It's a clear, physical line that takes all the guesswork out of the equation and prevents some incredibly expensive mistakes during the priciest parts of the build. And all of this brings us right to the foundation of success. Every single careful step we've just talked about, from that first safety check to the final string line, is what guarantees a building starts right and, more importantly, ends right. And to help you remember the whole process, here's a great little tip from this source material. Just think SDMLP. So that's safety first, then establish your datum, then do your measuring and squaring, check your levels, and finally set up your profiles. SDMLP. So let's just quickly recap the core skills here. It's all about marking the building's exact position, measuring correctly from the boundaries, and using those simple but powerful techniques to make sure every corner is perfectly level and perfectly square. And really, it all boils down to this one simple sentence. The entire point of laying out is to make sure the building is straight, level, and in exactly the right place. It's the very first and maybe the most important promise of quality in the entire construction project. And that kind of leaves us with a final thought, doesn't it? This whole layout process is the absolute pass-fail test for an entire building. Getting these first, tiny details right determines all the success that comes after. It really makes you wonder, what other seemingly small details out there in the world have such massive, massive consequences?